Hi everyone, thanks for stopping by. Today I want to share with you my experience and how I gently weaned my toddler. I am not by any means in this video trying to say that you need to wean your toddler or at what age you should wean your toddler. This is just my personal experience. I am a huge advocate for extended breastfeeding. I actually have a video for extended breastfeeding, which I will link down below that you can check that out if you're looking for some support there. This video is when you feel like you're done breastfeeding and your child seems like they're done breastfeeding and you're looking for the most gentle way possible to kind of end breastfeeding. So if that's what you're looking for, then this is the video for you. I nursed my son from the time that he was born until he was a little bit over 2 years old. And at this time when I started thinking about weaning him, I was actually pregnant with our daughter and I was super sore. Nursing was really uncomfortable for me. Moms, you know what I'm talking about. When you're pregnant, nursing just can be really, really painful. So I was to that place where I wasn't enjoying it anymore and he wasn't really needing it. It was more like he was nursing just out of boredom and out of habit. So I started to explore options to kind of slowly start the weaning process. The first thing that I did is I kept him as busy as possible. It was the spring, so I would make sure that we were just busy all day. From the time we got up, we would have breakfast, we would get dressed, we would go to the park, we would go for walks, we would play games, we would paint pictures, we would do all kinds of activities just so that he was busy enough that he wasn't wanting to nurse out of boredom. And when he did want to nurse, I would try to offer an alternative in a gentle way. If he persisted, then I would still nurse him at this point. But I would try to offer something else, something that he really liked, something that he thought was special. So if with him it was vanilla almond milk, that's what he really liked, and it was like a special treat for him. It was kind of sweet and he liked that. So I would say, do you want this? And I would point to his cup or, you know, whatever the case may be. And most of the time he would say yeah, because he wanted that special treat over nursing. Like I said, he was just nursing at this point because it was a habit and because he was bored. So keeping him busy and then offering an alternative when he wanted it. And this worked great for us. And I've heard other moms that they have offered like warm milk with some honey in it, or like yogurt drink, something that's creamy and a little bit delicious that's going to entice them over breast milk. So it worked really well for us to keep him busy and offer the alternative, and he ended up getting down to just nursing at nap time and at bedtime, and that worked great. But around this time he also started to phase out of naps, so I kind of had some help with weaning him off of nap time just simply because he stopped napping. If your kid still wants to nap, by all means embrace the nap and enjoy it. Hopefully your kiddos will nap longer because napping is wonderful and I really wish he still napped, but he doesn't. So he was pretty much weaned except for going to bed at night. And I knew that that was going to be the hardest. I've heard other moms talk about how hard it was to night wean. And for us, what I initially tried was timing it, where we would go upstairs, we would read our book, we would lay in bed, and I would nurse him and say, okay, but only for 15 minutes or only for 10 minutes or whatever it was. And the thought behind that is that you are nursing for a certain amount of time and you're slowly decreasing it until your child no longer needs to nurse. Well, that didn't quite work for us because he never really got to the point where he was just like, no, I'm gonna need some of that. So we did that for a while, and then my husband and I were actually going out of town on a trip. My husband is an Ironman triathlete, and we were going to Kentucky for an Ironman. So we were going to be in a hotel room, we were going to be with some other athletes, and I just didn't want to nurse in the hotel room. Like I said, I was already kind of over it. It was uncomfortable. I knew we were going to be tired. I knew I was going to be in a room full of athletes, and I just didn't want to deal with it. So I figured that this was going to be a great opportunity to try to totally night wean him. So I packed a pacifier with us, which neither one of my children ever took a pacifier, but I took it nonetheless. And the first night in the hotel, I did nurse him just for a few minutes, and then I was like, okay, we're done, and he just kind of pointed that he wanted more, and I was like, how about this? And I held up the pacifier, and first he shook his head no, pointed at me again, and I said, no, not right now. How about this? And he put the pacifier in his mouth, took it out, and pointed at me again. And I was like, not right now. But it was never a struggle. It was never, he was never crying. He was never stressed out about it. It was just a dialogue between he and I. And I think that's one of the benefits of weaning later, is because your child is old enough to understand what not right now means. And your child is able to understand what's going on, rather than, why are you withholding this from me for no reason? So I think that's one of the huge benefits of waiting until your child a little bit older. He actually did really well. We just laid in bed and we read books and we cuddled and he went to sleep. Now, I'm sure it was easier because we weren't in our regular routine at home. It was a different environment, so he wasn't wanting to nurse just out of habit purely. Since it was a different place, I think it made it easier. But we stayed in the hotel room for 3 nights. And by the end of the trip, he was completely night weaned. There was never a tear. There was never any stress on him or me. It was so easy. And I hope that it's that way for you too. I'm so, so grateful that it was so easy for him and for me. It was honestly the easiest transition ever. We both were ready to make that step to be weaned. And he's done great ever since. He's a couple times he's asked if he could have some mama milk, and I've just said, oh, you don't want that, you're a big boy, that's for babies. And he's never really pressed it beyond that. So that's how I weaned my toddler, and that's what worked for us. It was gentle, it was easy, no tears involved, and it can be that way for you too. You just have to wait until you and your toddler are ready. And I wish you all of the best luck if that's what you're going to do and if that's what you try. If you have any other tips or tricks that worked for you when you were weaning your toddler, make sure you put them in the comments below. That way other moms can take a look at those and hopefully find some help for what'll work for them. And if you found this video helpful, then please give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe down below. Thanks so much. Have a great day.